I did. Yes, I did. I can't believe I did that.
So what was it that made Shayna Hubers murder her boyfriend, Ryan Poston, on October the 12th, 2012? Was it self-defence, as she claimed, or jealousy, jilted? I mean, she even described herself as a woman scorned. Let's get into it and find out. Hi, my name's Dawn and welcome to Lounge Bar Crime. So let's go back to the beginning with Shayna and Ryan. Let's see just how different they were, or how much alike they were. What was the attraction? Ryan Carter Poston was born on December 30th, 1982 in Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, to Lisa Carter and Jay Poston. He had three younger sisters, Alison, Catherine and Elizabeth Carter. Ryan attended Blessed Sacrament School, Fort Mitchell, the International School Manila in the Philippines and the International School of Geneva, Switzerland during high school. So he certainly did a lot of travelling around when he was younger. He later attended Indiana University where he triple majored in history, geography and political science. He then went on to law school at the Salmon P. Chase College of Law at Northern Kentucky University in Highland Heights. After completing his Juris Doctor degree, Ryan began working as an attorney in Cinicinnati, Ohio, which was following in his father's and his grandfather's footsteps. They were both attorneys. His childhood was really happy and very stable. In fact, when his mother and his father divorced, his mother later remarried to Ryan's stepfather, which was Peter Carter. Later on, Ryan changed his middle name to Carter, which was his stepfather's surname, just to show really how much he appreciated him. And as I say, he was still very, very close to his own father. He just felt that he had like two fathers. So by the time Ryan had reached 28 with his own law company, he was become very handsome. People said he was very charismatic, could talk about anything. He was great fun, loved the social scene, had a really good bunch of friends around him, quite close knit, cousins as well, and nobody really had anything bad to say about him. He was dedicated to his career. He knew what he wanted, but he also found time, to go out with friends quite a lot. And from what I can gather, a lot of his friends were long-term friends. So he was in a good, close-knit community of friends, if you like, so on the social scene, always loving to go to bars. He was just loving life to the max. Shayna Michelle Hubers was born April 8th, 1991 in Lexington, Kentucky. She was studying psychology at the University of Kentucky and then went on to pursue a master's degree in school counselling. So she worked hard, to achieve her goals, and she was on her way to becoming very successful in her own right. She was described as being beautiful and a gifted student, earning several awards for her academic excellence and leadership skills. She was also described by those around her as being a perfectionist who had to do really well, not just succeed, but exceed at everything. She loved the theatre and drama, and she loved getting attention as well. Just getting back to Shayna for a minute and with the drama that she was into on and off the stage apparently. Now, Shayna was a very intelligent girl. Academic history shows that she was really, really intelligent, and yet life skills, being able to handle certain things, she wasn't that brilliant with. It was that she fell in love quickly and then would not let go, and then she would, if they eventually did get rid of her, she would handle it really, really badly. So Ryan and Shayna met through Ryan's cousin, Carissa. She mentioned Shayna Shayna was Carissa's friend, and she mentioned to Ryan about Shayna. Ryan then went on Facebook, took a look over Shayna's profile and started messaging her. And, you know, they really did hit it off to start with. Now, at this time, Shayna lived approximately 80 miles from Ryan. Ryan had a condo in Highland Heights, Kentucky. At the time, she was 19 and Ryan was 28. So yeah, they got to know each other a bit better on Facebook and flirting and things like that. And he asked her out on a date, and he actually took her out on the 8th of April 2011, which was Shayna's 20th birthday. So Ryan and Shayna was quite similar in a lot of ways. They both believed in studying and working hard for a career, which they both did. And they were, as I say, they were both becoming successful. Admittedly, Shayna was still studying, but she was going in the right direction and she knew what she wanted, as did Ryan. And so I think that possibly they felt pretty compatible in that sense. The only difference that I can see, what I've looked at, is that Ryan had this, as I said, close-knit friends and family around him, and Shayna didn't seem to have that. She, even as I've mentioned before with boyfriends that would come and go, and she never handled things very, very well. She didn't hang on to friends very well. She didn't have like friends from childhood, you know, like you move through life. I know we don't all hang on to our childhood friends, but a lot of us do. And if we don't, we still have friends that are, you know, have been around for many, many years that you're close to. And Shayna never really had that. It seems she flipped, you know, from friend to friend. She didn't have like a buddy that she palled around with quite a lot. There was something else different about them, that what they both wanted, even though they both wanted these careers and all that kind of matched. And as I said, they were both intelligent. Shayna was looking for somebody to settle down with. I mean, you know, she was like 19, just turned 20, and that's what she was after. And Ryan, I think Ryan at that time, he was more dedicated to his work, and I think he's seen Shayna as someone to go out with, casual, not anything too serious at that time. Previous to Shayna, he'd gone out with a girl called Lauren Worley, and he'd gone out with her for a couple of years, and she described Ryan as the love of her life, and he really did think a lot of her, and they were still very, very good friends. And she was friends with his family and all his friends. I mean, she did sort of like fit into his life. The only thing is, I think Ryan felt at the time that it was too soon for them, that they should possibly, if they was going to take up anything really serious, because it was getting serious, that it should be a few more years down the line when he's more established. And she agreed with that. And you know, she too was younger, and she was fine with that. You know, she didn't troll him or nothing like that. She just went with it, and they always stayed friends, and she always stays friends with his family. But there was something very, very strong between them two, and she felt as well that they would always get back together. I don't think she was delusional, and from bits that I've seen her in interviews, she seems very well grounded. So I don't disbelieve that at all. So to start with, Shayna and Ryan's relationship started off okay. You know, it was going out, as I say. Ryan was seeing it. You know, he didn't want her moving in. You know, he didn't want her there every night. He didn't want her on the phone every 5 minutes. He was just taking it slowly, you know, like you would. But his friends noticed something, and they didn't really like it. They noticed that Shayna was quite cold with them. When he was having conversations, she was getting in the middle of things. But then she didn't really want to know his friends. They just felt that she'd shown a coldness, particularly to the girls of Ryan's friends, group of friends. She was off with them, and he couldn't actually carry on a proper friendship with them because she would be there, and they all smelt something and they didn't like it at all, and they did start to mention this to Ryan. So because of Shayna's behaviour and the way she was acting, their relationship just started to become on off, you know. Every few months it went cold and things like that, and she would just turn up at nights out. When he was on a night out, she'd turn up all dressed up. I mean, this is what his friends gave evidence to. She would just turn up all dressed up where she wasn't even invited, and then all of a sudden his friends was, her friends, you know, she'd just start chatting away with them, and they'd know that she wasn't, you know, she hadn't been invited to this night out or to this social event, and then she'd just start chatting with Ryan as though everything was fine. And Ryan was getting to be at the end of his rope. He was thinking, you know, I just can't handle this. So by November 2011, they were still texting regularly, going on dates here and there, but his friends were getting a little bit concerned. Everything stood out to them really clear. Ryan, he was getting to the end of his tether with it as well. He did try to finish with her a few times, and the tears would start and he would feel sorry for her. Then he found out that she'd broken into his Facebook account, and any females he was friends with, that was a threat, she was deleting them and unfriending them, and it was just ridiculous really, the way she was, you know, prying into his business, and as I say, turning up unannounced. A few times he'd tried to take her to the door and get her to leave, and no, it didn't work. So in this case, Ryan's friends did testify that she would send message after message after message to Ryan's one message. I mean, at one stage I think she'd sent something like 100 messages. Another time, when Ryan had gone to stay at his dad's overnight, and he'd said to Shayna, you know, you would be better off without me. He tried everything, and then she would start the tears, and then she would do things for him as well, like, you know, he's washing, cleaning, do you want food? You know, she was just making herself available constantly, you know. And then he stayed at his dad's one night, and he told his dad that he had enough, you know, and, you know, she just would not leave. And of course his dad tried to give him the best advice he could. Again, meanwhile, Ryan's friends were getting really, really concerned, and rightly so. Obviously they saw things that Ryan didn't as much, being in the thick of it. The dates continued and Ryan just went along with it. 10 days before the shooting, they were going to the shooting range actually, and she sent a message to her friend saying, we went to the shooting range tonight, and part of me just wanted to turn around and shoot him. And then in the next breath she's saying, but you know, why is he still taking me on dates? You know, he seems to be trying with me. I think he just ended up just plodding on, really. That's how it seems. So now we're getting into October, and Ryan has been chatting with different females on Facebook, and Shayna has been nosy into his Facebook. He's not happy. He's said it enough times. She's not having it. And on one occasion, Shayna goes into his Facebook account and sees that he's friends with a girl called Audrey Bolte, who is Miss Ohio, a stunning looking girl, as is Shayna as well. And Shayna also friends her on Facebook. I suppose it's a case of keep your enemies close. I don't know, but so I'm not sure whether Shayna had access to these conversations or not. But Ryan was getting pretty pally with her, and they decided to go on a date. So Ryan was looking forward to this day. You know, they had light-hearted conversations. They both had the same sense of humour. They just seemed to really click and, you know, have a good laugh together. On the day of the shooting, Shayna had been really busy. First of all, she'd rung a modelling agency. Now, it's unknown whether that was for herself or whether this was to do something to do with Miss Ohio. She also messaged Ryan and said that she was really poorly. She had a racing heart and chest pains, and her mother was coming up. Well, she'd asked Ryan first if he could take her to the hospital, which obviously he was going on a date that night, so he couldn't. So it seems pretty clear that she kind of knew about this date, and she was really busy doing everything she could to stop this date. Anyway, Ryan said he couldn't, so she said her mother was picking her up and taking her to the hospital. She later texted him as well to say what medications she was on. She'd been to the hospital, these medications had been given to her, etc. But it was found in evidence. She didn't go to any hospital at all. She went to some bar, restaurant with her mum, who had come up to see her, but they'd just been for something to eat. And also, yeah, that she'd been delving into this model agency during the day. So yeah, it was obviously her cry for attention again, anything to stop what she knew was going to be happening that night. And then she turns up at Ryan's house just as he's getting ready to go on his date with Miss Ohio. So obviously she's at his house. She knows he's going on this date, and she obviously is trying everything. And what happens next puts a stop to that day. In fact, it puts a stop to everything for the rest of Ryan's life.
Campbell County 911. Ma'am, I killed my boyfriend in self-defense. Okay, where are you at? I'm at 12 Meadow Lane, Highland Heights, Kentucky. 12 Meadow Lane, unit number 10. Okay, hold on. What did you kill him with? A gun, a loaded gun in the house. Tell me where the gun is right now. The gun is in the house. Where at though, ma'am? Tell me where it's at. I laid it on the bookshelf. Where at? Laying on the shelf? On the bookshelf. Where are you? I'm standing about 10 feet from his dead body. Okay, are you sure that he is dead? He's dead, ma'am. Shoot him. I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, not even that long. 10 or 15 minutes ago? Okay, what's your name? My name is Shayna Huber. I'm sorry, what is it again? Tell me. You're going to stay on line. You're going to stay on the line with me, okay? Because this is what we're going to do. The officers are going to want me to stay on the line with you, so when they get there, they're going to want to know where that gun is, and we want you to get out safely too, okay? Okay, are they going to arrest me? Ma'am, I don't know what they'll do. We're going to send them out. I'm going to stay on the line with you, okay? I mean, I'm not a murderer, ma'am. I just killed him. What happened exactly? What happened? He beat me and carried me out of the house. He did. He beat me and tried to carry me out of the house, and I came back in to get my things, and he was right in front of me, and he reached down and grabbed the gun, and I grabbed it out of his hand and pulled the trigger. Okay. All right. Do you need an ambulance? Have you been injured? I'm not injured, ma'am. I was thrown into this Okay, and how old is he? He's 29. He'll be 30 on he would have been 30 on December the 30th. All right, what's his name? Ryan Poston. He's an attorney in Cincinnati. Okay, have you had a history of domestic violence with him? Yes. Okay, and is this your gun? No, this is his gun. He keeps loaded guns in the house. So he slammed you into the couch, but you don't have any injuries? I don't have any injuries. I was just very frightened. He's a lot bigger than me. He pushed me down from the door all the way to the couch, and when they come here, they'll see how far that is. He threw me across the room, and I was very startled. I was laying up. When they tell me to, what I'm going to tell you to do is walk to the door with your hands up, because we want you to come out safely, okay? So that's why I'm staying on the line with you. Ma'am, I'm just a dispatcher. I'm nothing but a dispatcher, so I can't tell you. My job is to keep you on line, make sure my officers get there safely and nothing happens to them, okay? Ma'am, and then because he was twitching and I knew he was going to die anyway, and he was making funny noises, I shot him a couple more times just to kill him because I knew he would have been. I'm sorry, you said you shot him a couple more times after that? Yeah. How many times did you shoot him total? I don't know. Okay, because he was twitching and you knew he was going to die, so you shot him again? Enough to make sure he was dead because he was twitching so bad and I didn't want to lay there and twitch. So you shot him instead of calling 911? Yeah, I did because I knew he was going to die. Nope. I want you to stay right where you're at. Stay right where I'm at? Stay where you're at. Don't tell me. Okay. Well, they tell me when they're... Well, I have to give them a key to let them in. I actually have to walk all the way down there to let them in. All right, I want... Okay. Is he out front? Ma'am, what I want you to do is I want you to set the phone down, but I do not want you to hang it up. I want you to go to your front door. I want you to open it up, walk outside the door with your hands in front of you.
I've shot my boyfriend in self-defense. Would you not just be hysterical? I've got to say, I think that dispatcher is absolutely brilliant in getting... I mean, I know it's a job, but she was getting that information. You shot him again because he was twitching. How many times did you shoot him? She got so much information during that time. Hats off to her. And this is where Shayna just comes into her own, you know, all singing, all dancing confession. In the limelight. It's important to add as well at this time, the officers in the interview didn't ask her any questions because apparently she had asked for an attorney when she had got, you know, to the station, and because of that they can't ask questions until her attorney gets there, which I don't know whether they give her well, I don't think they needed to give her the opportunity to get an attorney because she was blabbing like there was no tomorrow, and apparently they had to keep taking turns each. 3 hours she went on for and chatted for 3 hours. I mean, she asked in this interrogation room, which wasn't an interrogation at all because they didn't need to interrogate her, but she asked, can you get married in jail? You know, she gave him the nose job he always wanted because he was quite vain, and then did a little laugh after that.
They would never want to marry me if they know that I killed my boyfriend and salt. Not funny, but... And I just picked up the gun, and in the middle of him doing something with his arm or saying something crazy, shot him. And I thought, oh my God, what have I done? You know? And he was laying with his face on the table, like twitching. And so I knew he was going to die a very slow and painful death. I knew he was already dead, you know, within the next 20 seconds. So in the next 2 minutes, I knew he was going to be dead. and he was in a lot of pain. He was twitching, he was moaning, but he was ultimately dead. And so I shot him enough times to kill him so that he wouldn't suffer at that point, which was a few more times. And I shot him, I think I shot him twice, thought he was completely dead, and he was laying there still, twitching and making noises. And I shot him in the head. I probably should have left it there, but I knew he was going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Or have a very deformed face.
You were concerned.
And I knew, oh no, he would have died. He was already dying. He was dying. But I just walked around the table and shot him where I knew he would die immediately. And fast. His obsession with guns killed him. You know, I would have never, I'm so Democrat, I would have never touched a gun in my life until I dated him. I'm not your typical murderer. No, not the one that you see on Dexter. He said, you're just a hillbilly from Kentucky. And I am. If the hillbilly came out of me, I took that for myself. And if it matters now, it's the worst thing I've ever done my whole life. But I feel like part of me doesn't feel bad about it. That part of me does. You know what I mean? Like, part of me is like, he hit me. He threw me. You just don't treat a woman like that. I was like in high school and she was a convicted felon. She told me that women that she was for cocaine. She told me that the women that she got along with in jail or prison are the women that were there because they had killed their husbands. And said that hell has no fury like a woman's scorn. Never believed it until now. How sweet the sound that it sings.
So Shayna had entered a plea of not guilty, saying that it was self-defence. She said that he'd thrown her around the room, he'd thrown her off the bookcase, he'd thrown her up the TV, off the settee. But all the evidence shown that even where she'd said that he'd thrown her off against the TV and all that, there was dust that had not been disturbed. No, I've seen pictures of the condo and it was up-tipped a bit, but I think, to be honest, I think a lot of that was just stuff was out and Ryan hadn't done his tidying up that day. It certainly, I mean, the bookcase was still intact, all the books was there, you know, there certainly hadn't been a big scrap there and that, and it appears that what he had tried to do was throw her bag into the hallway with the keys and then picked her up and put her out there. You know, he had done everything. And the reason why Ryan was shot is because he was going on a date with Audrey Bolte, and Shayna wasn't going to have that. So on the 23rd of April 2015 was the sentencing for Shayna. This is after her attorneys had asked that she was considered as a victim of domestic abuse. I don't think anybody was buying that. She was actually sentenced to 40 years with the eligibility for parole after 20 years. She wasn't just going to leave things like that, because things then took a turn. She got information that one of the jurors had a felony, and because you're not allowed to be on a jury with a felony, then it had to be retried. I did say she was smart and quite cunning as well. Anyway, actually, the felony, which I don't blame the guy for not realising he was a criminal, because his felony was late payments on child maintenance. So of course, when he got the letter, which if he was classed as being a criminal by rights, and he shouldn't have really been requested to, you know, to be a juror, but obviously when he got the form and the details and everything, and it says, are you a criminal? Well, you know, he's not robbed any cars, he's not robbed a bank, he's not murdered anybody, Shayna. So he put no, which I think you would. I mean, I don't think you'd think, oh, actually, I am a criminal, you know, because, you know, it's not even that he'd stopped paying payments. He was late on some child maintenance payments. Absolutely ridiculous, but she got her way for a retrial. So the retrial was in January 2018. Now, at the first trial, Shayna didn't go on the stand and give evidence for herself at all. She left it to her attorneys, who she thought would have a good case for her with, because, you know, because it was domestic abuse and it was self-defense. She thought, you know, she'd leave it with them. At this trial, I think she thought that she'd done really, really well by, you know, getting a second trial. She decided to take the stand herself. It didn't help her at all though, because apparently it sounded very rehearsed. Also, with her taking the stand, 2 of her buddies turned up to take the stand as well. 2 of her cellmates decided to come and give evidence against her. But it wasn't for a lesser sentence. They didn't get 1 minute knocked off their sentence. It was because they felt she was quite callous, that she laughed and joked. She kept saying, you know, in prison, that I gave him the nose job he always wanted. She more or less admitted that it wasn't self-defense. She said that she couldn't get off with saying it was like there was something wrong with her mentally because she was such a genius. And in fairness, she was an intelligent girl, you know. But all this didn't help. With these 2 witnesses giving the evidence that they did, it just went worse. I mean, she just didn't know how to shut up. That was a problem. So this time around, she got life, with the possibility for parole after 20 years. So she should have just kept her gob shut the first time. So Shayna will be eligible for parole in 2032. So in between Shayna's first hearing and second hearing, she actually did an interview in prison, and that was only for her to have her rights to get married. Oh yes, finally she finds somebody to marry her. So if you've enjoyed this video I've done another video following on from this, which is about that interview. It's not really, it's about what she's been up to in between and since, but it's also to show you just how much remorse or lack of it she has shown. In fact, I would say just the opposite. So what do you think of this case? See, yeah, Shayna should not be free. We know that. Now, I am not gonna paint Ryan as a saint. I'm not sure if he was having his cake and eating it a little bit, or thought, obviously, no matter what he was doing, he didn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that. But it'd just be interesting to hear what you think. If you have enjoyed this video, you possibly would enjoy the next one, which I'll link below, which is a follow-up to this case, and it just shows what Shayna was up to in between her first trial and her second trial. Just exactly how calculating she is, really. How quick she is at answering things and getting out of things. I do think, actually, she probably would have been better running the first trial, doing the trial herself and sacking her attorneys. So, yeah. So, stay tuned for that. As I say, I'll link that below. And I hope you will come back to watch it and subscribe, hit the like button, and hope to see you again soon. Thank you. Bye bye.